LA this week.
There is nothing worse a person can do to another person than take away their humanity.
All of our branches in the system actually reopened to the public, except for 3 that are currently being remodeled. All of the rest of our branches are open to the public as of today.
He was everything to this city, and his legacy will last forever.
Hello everyone, I'm Natalia Bilbao, and here's what's happening in LA this week. Mayor Eric Garcetti and Councilmember Mike Bonin of District 11 attended a groundbreaking ceremony for a new light rail station. The airport metro connector will eventually connect Los Angeles International Airport to the LA Metro Transit system, allowing travelers to take the train directly to and from LAX. The airport metro connector was conceived to also accommodate transit to LAX via bus, bike, and more. Take a look.
We are finally here to bring a train to the plains.
To be a world-class airport, we must create world-class transportation options for our employees and our guests. And this Metro Connector will do just that.
So this is government at work, decades in the making, in partnership with LAWA, Metro, to really bring this important asset for the entire region, not just LA, but for the entire region.
It's a great day for Los Angeles. I mean, it really is an opportunity to see that vision become a closer step to reality, and that is being able to get to LAX via transit.
3, 2, 1.
Today is just the beginning. While we're going to be blowing something up today, what we're building is even more exciting.
From planes, trains, buses, bikes to automobiles, it will happen all here in a seamless way, in an iconic way, and we're just excited about it. So today, we had the groundbreaking.
And I'm just really proud that I'm standing here representing the county that I was born and raised in, and we're going to see this come to fruition.
The airport metro connector is funded in part by the sales tax raised by Measure R, passed in November 2008, and Measure M, passed in November 2016. California Attorney General Rob Bonta held a press conference to announce additional state funding to address the crisis of human trafficking. He was given strong celebrity support through the voices of Alyssa Milano and Academy Award winner Mira Sorvino.
Plain and simple, human trafficking is a form of modern-day slavery. For a long time, our sexually exploited youth were not treated as they should have been, as victims, as survivors. They were treated as criminals. That was wrong. That needs to change. They are not criminals. They are victims and they are survivors, and our work should reflect that fundamental understanding every step of the way.
There is nothing worse a person can do to another person than take away their humanity.
I was trafficking here in suburban LA in a healthcare industry. For 2.5 years, I was forced to work day and night. I was sleeping on the floor in the hallways, and I was served a food that was left over. It's a table scraps.
This initiative does exactly what is needed. It will provide the guidelines and training to law enforcement and those who help survivors escape, and it will at the same time provide the resources necessary to make sure that they start a new life.
Survivors are always struggling accessing resources, and with the pandemic, it doubles the struggle. Unfortunately, most of us lost our jobs. We cannot even provide the basic needs to our family, like food, rent, and utility payments, and especially with our members that has a family with kids.
That's why in the state legislature, the budget that we sent to the governor's office increases the amount of funding for survivors by $30 million over the next 3 years. That means over the next 3 years, the current existing funds of $10 million per year and the augmentation of $10 million per year gives us $60 million to help survivors
to ensure survivors and their families have a community that's safe to be able to heal and to thrive. This is going to take more time and significant resources.
This is the first time that I have really felt the partnership that we are always preaching between law enforcement, civil society, NGOs, working together with a victim-centric, trauma-informed approach to ending this.
Residents and members of the West Adams Neighborhood Council recently held a Walk the Boulevard event. The event was part of the Adams Boulevard Safety Project, focused on proposed safety improvements on Adams Boulevard between Fairfax and Crenshaw. Check it out.
We are here today with Walk the Boulevard on Adams Boulevard. I'm a local resident, and the goal of today really is to work with the local community and LADOT and the West Adams Neighborhood Council and local stakeholders to make improvements to Adams Boulevard. It's a great boulevard for businesses, but it's really not a walkable boulevard, and it's really not safe for all modalities of transportation.
We are advocating for safety for the pedestrians that live in this community. And so we're looking at pedestrian safety, bicycling safety, moving around in our spaces to go to grocery stores, parks, and our homes. We have LADOT coming out and sharing what we can expect in the next 5 years as it relates to the Adams Boulevard Safety Project and the reconfiguration of Adams Boulevard. Also today we have community advocates that actually have worked with the neighborhood council, and they too will be sitting at the tables to engage on safety related matters.
I think this is really great because it's been a community partnership with community stakeholders coming together from the West Adams Neighborhood Council with support of the Office of Councilmember Mark Ridley-Thomas and the LA Department of Transportation. So it's really been great to see neighborhood councils, community stakeholders, church groups, schools, local businesses, and the council office coming together to do something to really help improve the community and improve safety in the community for our kids and for residents.
Historical downtown El Pueblo marks its post-pandemic reopening with an open invitation from two signature museums, the Avila Adobe and the Plaza Firehouse. Check this out.
This is a great place to come to see the first origin of the Los Angeles Fire Department. Not the beginning, but the first fire station. We house a piece of apparatus that was like the last one that was actually housed here. It was only open for 13 years. It was open from 1884 to 1897, a short duration because in fact the city didn't own the land that the fire station was on, and they had to rent it from the owner for the last 5 years that it was open. It's a chemical engine, has nothing to do with fire extinguishment. It's got to do, it has two 50-gallon water tanks, and they're pressurized using chemicals. We're inviting everyone to come down and visit the station and Olvera Street. We're open for business, and we look forward to seeing everyone who would like to come down and have a very enjoyable day at Olvera Street.
Estamos aquí en la Placita Olvera, en el Avila Adobe. Es la casa más antigua en la ciudad de Los Ángeles, construido en 1818. Los museos ya están abiertos martes a domingo a las 10 de las 3 de la tarde para visitar. Para más información, visita www.elpueblo.lacity.org.
The museums at El Pueblo are not the only cherished institutions that are reopening with full services. Later in the program, we'll chat with another city agency that is literally throwing a party to welcome Angelenos back. A community resource fair touches down in Council District 14. Team Mark Ridley-Thomas holds a COVID-19 testing and vaccination event, and Team Trees becomes a finalist for the My LA 2050 grant program. These stories up next on City Beat.
The Office of Council District 14 held a community resource fair at the Hollenbeck Police Station. The fair offered a broad range of services from free snacks to COVID-19 vaccinations.
It brings resources and a peace of mind. I think underserved communities such as Boyle Heights sometimes lack services. So when we all come together, especially in a safe place like the Hollenbeck Police Station, they're able to walk in, drive by, bring their families, and as you can see, they're taking advantage of the services.
Over a dozen local organizations participated in the resource fair. The event was spearheaded by the Soledad Enrichment Action Program, which is an offspring of Mayor Garcetti's Gang Reduction and Youth Development Program. Team Mark Ridley Thomas recently hosted a COVID-19 vaccination event at Lamert Park in District 10. Councilmember Mark Ridley Thomas was on hand to encourage eligible Angelenos to get vaccinated against COVID-19.
We should not put our guard down. We should not think this is an opportunity for us to lose sight of the fact that the pandemic has subsided, but it is not over.
The council member emphasized the need for equity in providing services and resources to underrepresented communities. The city plants LA City Team Trees is a finalist in the My LA 2050 Grants Challenge. My LA 2050 is a community-guided initiative driving toward a shared vision for the future of Los Angeles. Team Trees, which includes the Commonwealth Nursery in Griffith Park and City Plants, is a finalist in the Live category. The Commonwealth Nursery has long served as an urban ecological laboratory and training grounds to support LA's tree canopy equity goals. Check out all the finalists at challenge.la2050.org.
Salita Reynolds with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation recently invited the Channel 35 cameras to check out the newest electric shuttle fleet. And our own Maria Hall Brown was happy to oblige. Here's how it went.
I'm delighted to be joined today by the General Manager of LA Department of Transportation, Salita Reynolds. So much fun to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming out to our yard. We're very, very proud of it and really excited to show off the buses, and it's nice to be with you again. When people talk about bringing electric buses onto a fleet, a lot of times they're thinking, can't you just buy a bunch of new electric buses? But the thing that really is the challenge, where are you going to charge them? Where are you going to store them? And so it was really a multi-departmental effort.
Well, they're all sitting right here behind us, and they're pretty and shiny and new. So how many of them do you have now?
So we have about 29, and you might notice that we've changed the design of the bus as well.
They obviously have an environmental theme because they're green and blue, and I think we were appropriate.
We did.
In what we
matched.
What are the assets when it becomes an electric bus?
Having a quieter fleet, and it's about also being comfortable as a passenger when you're inside. We really appreciate our riders for using one of the most efficient and cleanest ways to get around. Because a combustion engine has so many more moving parts and an electric bus is much simpler, these buses are going to last longer. They're going to need less maintenance over time, and they're going to allow us to stretch all the investment in this fleet that we're making on behalf of our riders. These buses have actually performed even better than we thought they would with respect to how far they can go on a single charge. So most of these buses can do their whole route and come back here and still have some charge left. The most important thing about running a transit system is that you have to have great service. And then after that, all of these other things that we can continue to invest in and add to make sure that riding the bus is great for everybody and that everybody is treated with the same amount of respect and dignity no matter who they are when they're on one of our buses.
Well, they're back. Access to free air conditioning and Wi-Fi is back. Access to books and DVDs and music is back. At nearly 70 different locations, the Los Angeles Public Library is back to inviting patrons inside its branches with full services available. And the folks over at the Silver Lake branch think that is something worth singing about.
Silver Lake branch reopened to the public on June the 1st. And all of our branches in the system actually reopened to the public as of today. All of our branches except for 3 that are currently being remodeled. All of the rest of our branches are open to the public as of today.
The mandate is that we can be inside now, and because it's fun to be a part of the community, so it's like just it's only an exciting thing for me to be able to be around people at many different libraries. Having music here at the library makes me feel excited for the summer because it's getting to experience what this city has to offer, and to do it like in a public community is what I've missed most.
I'm here to kick off an amazing end of year Make Music Los Angeles over here in the Silver Lake Ranch Library. It's really, really awesome to be able to play together with fellow musicians and bring music on the street and make it happen. It's been almost a year that we've been able to do that, so this is pretty special.
Who wants to go motorbiking for graduation? That's how one group of lucky girls celebrated this year compliments of the GEMS program run by the LAPD Valley Traffic Division. These kids have some moves. Check this out.
We're here at the Ed Davis training facility with the LAPD and the National Youth Project Using Mini Bikes, which is a program where the LAPD works with largely inner city youth to create motorcycle skills and safety awareness. And we use the motorcycles and the use of the motorcycles as an incentive program for good behavior at school, for good grades, and for other very valuable civic lessons.
Well, I think this is an outstanding program. It's another example of when we bring cops and kids together that both lives change. This is an opportunity that 8 weeks ago, 10 young people from the inner city came to the San Fernando Valley, to this dirt lot, and began for a series of 8 weeks, learn the various disciplines it takes to ride a cycle. But in the midst of that, they learn to have a relationship with a police officer, and a police officer have a relationship with a young person, and for them to see each other as who they are.
So the cost is nothing to the participants. All of these kids are in this program, and all the costs are absorbed through a couple of sources. The Honda Motor Corporation actually is the main sponsor of NIPM, and they provide all of the mini bikes that you see behind us. Those are donated by Honda for use by the NIPM program. In terms of the funding for the officers and the instructors, that comes through the grant that we get from the state, and then the city also provides matching funds to support the youth program for the kids.
The late council member Tom LaBonge was recently honored with a memorial plaque in Silver Lake Meadow. Known around town as Mr. Los Angeles, LaBonge served the city in various capacities for 40 years and represented the 4th District on the City Council from 2001 until 2015. Council members Mitch O'Farrell and Nithya Raman were on hand for the unveiling.
Tom LaBonge was so much more than only a council member or only a DWP enthusiast and booster. He was everything to this city, and his legacy is incredible. It's profound, and it will last forever.
Thank you very much to Marty and the DWP, Mitch, Nithya, and all of you wonderful community leaders for coming out today and honoring my brother Tom, because he loved being outside. He loved Los Angeles. This is a great day.
This is where he lived. He lived here in Silver Lake, and it was time that we remembered him or had something to remember him.
It's an enormous district. It's 250,000 people, like every district in the city, and he made it feel like a small town because of who he was and because of what he brought to every interaction with every resident of the district.
We worked really closely together. He had fantastic ideas and vision for what we could do and what was possible. And he worked so closely with us at the Department of Water and Power to make a lot of the dreams come true. He was incredibly driven. He was never limited by anything. He always saw possibilities.
He would be proud. He worked diligently with Marty Adams and the DWP to open up this space for public. It's a well-used sacred space.
Significa un gran honor para una persona que fue tan involucrado en su comunidad, que siempre quiso mejorar la comunidad en la cual él servía. Es un gran honor reconocer a alguien que hizo tanto esfuerzo para hacer cosas mejor.
Nothing ever stopped Tom, and nothing will ever stop us from carrying on in his memory.
Currently, only 3% of historically recognized monuments in the city of Los Angeles are associated with women's heritage. So when the LA City Council unanimously voted to bestow the Karita studio with landmark status, it seemed like a step in the right direction to address that disparity. Nellie Scott of the Karita Arts Center spoke to Channel 35 about the artist's work and life of advocacy.
Hi, this is Los Angeles City Council member Mitch O'Farrell representing the 13th District, which is home to Karita Kent's former art studio where she created her most iconic works. It has been a privilege helping to designate Karita's studio as a historic cultural monument so that future generations of Angelenos can share in her story and her legacy and learn by her example.
Karita Kent was an artist, educator, and social justice advocate. She's one of the most prominent artists of the 20th century. She really is a daughter of Hollywood. She grew up across DeLongpre Park and joined the Order of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. She turned 18 and got her master's from USC. Karita, in addition to being an educator, primarily worked in silk screening and created numerous serigraphs there in that studio. We are really fortunate at the Karita Art Center to have a collection of her serigraphs. Our collection is about 30,000 artworks, objects, and ephemera, all related to Karita, and they are marvelous. She passed in 1986, and with her passing, she left the majority of her estate to the Immaculate Heart community. We are just so lucky to be Karita's champions here at the Karita Art Center and to think of how we share the ethos that she represented in her lifetime. And I think that that's really indicative of Los Angeles ethos and what this building represents both nationally and locally. Her work is profoundly relevant to today's conversations as she reminds us all to use our time and talents for the greater whole. During her lifetime, she used her artwork as a tool to spread messages of love, hope, and justice. Her legacy is certainly one of love. If people wanted to learn more about Karita, please visit www.karita.org. And of course, the Karita Art Center does take reservations.
As a city, Los Angeles met the financial challenges of the recent pandemic with funding that supported housing, small business survival, vaccinations, testing, and the dissemination of resources with unprecedented speed. As chairman of the Budget and Finance Committee, Councilmember Paul Krikorian had a lot to do with successfully meeting that challenge. In our featured story this week, Maria Hall-Brown sits down with the budget chair to discuss the challenges we faced a year ago and the ambitious goals that lie ahead.
Well, what can you do with $11.2 billion? Actually, someone is here who knows exactly what we're going to be doing with $11.2 billion in the city of Los Angeles. I'm delighted to be joined by Paul Krikorian. He is the chair of the City Council and Budget and Finance Committee. So nice to have you here. Last we chatted, it was rather a different arena completely. We were talking about putting the LA budget together for the fiscal year, and it was a bit of a roller coaster.
I think we did a remarkable job getting through the year, and then this budget, I'm pleased to say, that the mayor just signed, is probably the budget that I've been proudest of in the 10 years that I've been doing this as budget chair. We're making substantial investments in the things that people need the most. almost $1 billion in homelessness response. We're investing significant amounts of money in economic stimulus and economic development to help prime the pump for our economic recovery. And very important to me, we've set aside an additional $100 million to recreation and parks. And this budget also includes renewable energy generation, including solar energy at parks and parking structures and so forth. So we're doing a lot of investment in the infrastructure that's necessary to generate that renewable energy.
What about just basic infrastructure?
This budget includes street surfacing for 1,700 lane miles throughout the city, which is enormous. That's about 5 miles of resurfacing every single day. So it's a big investment. It's an important investment because we know that if we don't spend that money up front, we end up spending much more as the quality of streets deteriorates, and it gets more and more expensive as it deteriorates. We're continuing to spend under the Comprehensive Sidewalk Repair Program. We're continuing to invest tens of millions of dollars in sidewalks. It's around $40 million this year. It's going to be a good year, and many more good years to come, I'm confident.
Log on to see the Echo Park Lotus Festival. Enjoy Lincoln Heights Youth Arts Center's Summer Arts program or reinvent household throwaways with LAPL. These items up next on Things to Do.
The 40th Annual Lotus Festival is virtual again this year. Join online as Los Angeles honors the country of Cambodia. The festival includes music, dance, and entertainment from a variety of performers representing many of the diverse countries of Asia and the Pacific Islands. Be sure to check out the 2021 Virtual Lotus Festival on Saturday, July 10th at 12 p.m. For more information, follow @Lotus Festival LA on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The Department of Cultural Affairs has brought the 2021 Virtual Summer Arts Program back to Lincoln Heights Youth Arts Center. Sign up for a 5-week session of fun and fresh classes for beginner and continuing students of all ages. The program begins July 12th and runs through August 14th, but you must register to participate. To sign up, visit bit.ly/LHYAC-Arts. Stay tuned for the class schedule and more details coming up. Join retired Master Gardener Yvonne Savio for a unique and informative master class. The online workshop is called Recycling and Repurposing Household Throwaways into New Garden Tools. In this class, Yvonne will guide you through inventing new uses for household items, such as garden tools, that will ease your gardening chores. You'll feel the delight of creating a new use for what might have been discarded. Recycling and Repurposing Household Throwaways into New Garden Tools breaks ground Saturday, July 10th, beginning at 2 p.m. For information on how to register, visit lapl.org and check out the events section. And that's a look at some virtual things to do.
And that's it for this edition. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org, and we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.